That was as big of a save as you'll see from Jeremy Swayman this entire season.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things spoke to be. Today is Wednesday, February 5th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube, and it's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. On today's episode, we are going to break down the storylines, stats, and signals from last night's big 3-0 shutout victory over the Minnesota Wild. We'll also preview tonight's game against the Rangers in New York. And, of course, bring you all the latest on our favorite hockey team. Before we get started, a quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. And you can find me, my hockey thoughts, dad jokes, at Ian C. McLaren. And it was a huge win for the Boston Bruins last night. Yes, the Minnesota Wild were playing without their best player and a Hart Trophy candidate in Kirill Kaprizov. But nonetheless, they got the job done, powered by Jeremy Swayman's third shutout of the season. He made 36 saves in this one. And I learned this morning from Fluto Shinzawa of The Athletic that heading into the Four Nations face-off, we know the Bruins had 4 games remaining on the schedule heading into the Four Nations face-off that begins next week. And the interim coach challenged his players to face this as though it was a playoff series. And through two of those 4 games, the Bruins have picked up 2 wins, 4 points, including last night's win over the Wild and a win on Saturday over tonight's opponent, the New York Rangers. Jeremy Swayman made a 22-save performance in the Bruins' 6-3 win over the Rangers, and then he followed it up with a 35-save shutout, or 36 saves according to NHL.com. And there was no save bigger than the one he made off the stick of Matt Boldy. Now, the Bruins have had this crazy propensity of scoring a goal and then quickly giving up either an equalizer or allowing the opposing team to get back in the game. And Trent Frederick had given the Bruins a 2-0 lead after a rush goal that was initiated by a Matt Poitras assist. We'll discuss Poitras' contributions a bit more in the stats section. The very next shift, though, the Wild had the Bruins' fourth line pinned in the defensive zone. The Bruins had to ice the puck, and then tired, having to do the defensive zone face-off once again, Matt Zuccarello sat up Matt Boldy, who's one of Minnesota's best finishers, for a one-timer from the top of the right circle. Swayman had to push from right to left to follow Zuccarello's pass across, and he tracked the puck, put himself by, basically doing the splits in good position to raise his glove and snatch Boldy's shot out of the air to preserve that 2-0 lead. Yes, it was from a good distance, about 40 feet or so, but still, it was a wicked shot by Boldy, and it was a quick look where Swayman had to really get over there in good time, and that changes the game for the Bruins. If they let that goal in, the Wild get back into it, whole different ball game, so to speak, but Swayman was able to track that puck, glove it down, and from there, he was able to complete the shutout victory. And make no mistake, if the Bruins are going to have any chance of staying in the playoff hunt or staying in a playoff position, they're going to need Jeremy Swayman to be at his very best. And while he did allow those 3 goals against the Rangers the other night, this shutout, yes, against a Kaprizov less Wild team, still very impressive considering the high volume of shots that he faced and the kinds of saves that he was forced to make, as exemplified in that robbing of Matt Boldy. Swayman's save percentage is now above 900. Finally, actually, nope, it's still sitting at 898. But he's slowly getting back up there. And over his last 5 games, he has been, or over the last few games, he's been exceptional. Here in February, 2 wins. He has stopped 57 of 60 shots for a .950 save percentage so far here in February. It will likely be Joonas Korpisalo going tonight against the Rangers in order to give Swayman a bit of a break, but he'll be called back into action on Saturday as Bruce Cassidy and the Vegas Golden Knights come to town for the final game before the Four Nations face-off. Before those 2 games, he had a bumpy one against the Sabres, a few actually, where he had an .813 save percentage against the Sabres, .857 against the Devils, .886 against the Senators. He did have that one nice performance against the Avs, so 3 of the past 4 have been high-quality starts, and he's given the Bruins a chance to win night in and night out. And again, if they have any opportunity or any chance to stick in the playoff race, they're going to need him to be at his very best. He said after the game, it's important continuing to build his own game and knowing that he's helping the team win games every time he gets a chance to be in net. That's his job, he admitted. Every shutout isn't an individual effort. It takes a whole team in front of me to do their job. And that's what they did tonight. Blocking shots, making sure they cleared rebounds. And it was a great team effort to build off in Swayman's estimation, and great for him to, give full credit to his squad in front of him. Sacco described it as a good all-around effort from the guys start to finish. Good showing. The players determined. They played determined hockey. They were focused and digging in the third period like they did with some penalty kills. Was good. Good on the group. They played well in this one. And thankfully, they came out with the 2 points and were able to, as we'll discuss here in the stats section of things, kill off some penalties in the third period. The Bruins took 3 straight penalties in the third period, which is not great at all, but we'll discuss more in the stats and signals, those kinds of things. The big thing to know is Jeremy Swayman, that huge save, really helped the Bruins keep that momentum going. Positive building here. 2 games in which they can finish strong before this Four Nations break. 4 points accumulated so far in this 4-game stretch, and they'll try to keep it going tonight against the Rangers, a game that we'll preview here later on. Coming up as the podcast continues, though, we'll take a look at some key stats and signals to take away from last night's win over the Minnesota Wild. Super Bowl 59 is here. I know everybody is excited for the big game on Sunday. 2 teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. And knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets during the Super Bowl, that's the icing on the cake. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And last night, the Bruins penalty kill, which has been pretty bad all season long, came up huge, especially in the third period. Now, we kind of need to talk about Oliver Wahlstrom here. He took 2 penalties last night. Offensive zone on top of it, one at 11-12 of the third period against old Bruin Jacob Lauko. This came after Morgan Geekie had taken an interference penalty and Nikita Zadorov cross-checked Jake Middleton. So the Bruins penalty killing unit was called upon to do some heavy lifting in the third period, and thank goodness they kept the Wild attack at bay. Kaprizov, of course, would have come in handy there, but the Bruins were able to thwart that attack. And that's a big reason why they were able to win this game last night. The Bruins were outshot by a slim margin, 36-35, so a high event game in this one. And the Bruins on their own went 0 for 3 on the power play. Faceoffs were exactly 50-50. So you can see how tight this game was and how important Jeremy Swayman's performance was here last night. We can't not mention Charlie McAvoy, who admitted after the game that he has had just a fantastic week. He returned from injury. He scored in back-to-back games. And he, of course, welcomed his first child into the world. So great returns so far in 2025 for our boy, Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy, of course, is a guy that is a Norris Trophy level goaltender. I don't think he's ever going to win unless he can find another level offensively. But 2 goals in a couple games here, and while he's not on the level of a Quinn Hughes or a Cale Makar, still showing that he is as important as anybody on the blue line to their team. Another guy we got to mention is Matt Poitras, who recorded 2 assists in this one. He got a secondary assist on Charlie McAvoy's goal, and then he got the primary assist on Trent Frederick's 8th of the season. That gives him 4 assists over his past 2 games, and he is proving that he is able to contribute even in a still fairly limited role. He's not getting a lot of power play time, and he is not really in a prime offensive role starting on the third line. 13 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time last night, though. 2 assists, 1 primary, a +2, and he continues to make an impact for this team. At 5-on-5 last night, Minnesota had the edge in terms of shot attempts, shots. Scoring chances were fairly even, but high danger chances were well in Minnesota's favor. They had 68.2% of the high danger chances at 5-on-5 last night, and that's, of course, anything within that home plate area around the net. In all situations, it was fairly even in terms of shot attempts and shots, and scoring chances were dead even, 50-50. But again, high danger chances. The Wild had 16 compared to 9 for our Boston Bruins. Expected goals, when you add it all up, it's pretty even. 3.36 for the Bruins, 3.27 for the Wild. The end score was 3-0, of course, and that's a credit to Jeremy Swayman outplaying Marc-Andre Fleury at the other end of the ice, who was making his final appearance at TD Garden, as it will be this is his final season. He has announced that he is retiring after tonight, or this season. Now, Mark Kastelic made his return to the lineup last night, prompting a Vinny Lettieri demotion to the AHL. I still contend that the Bruins should recall Georgi Merkulov, Oliver Wahlstrom. God bless him for his efforts, but the 2 penalties last night, not really getting it done. And looking at his overall numbers for the Bruins since being plucked on waivers from the New York Islanders, they're not particularly strong either. He has appeared in 14 games for the Bruins, 1 goal, 1 assist, and he's got 21 minutes in penalties, averaging 10.56 minutes per game. It's high time again to why bring in this waiver claim and give him every opportunity in the world with the big club when you have a guy like Merkulov who's been waiting in the wings, doing everything asked of him down at the AHL level. See what you have in him, because let's be honest, Wahlstrom is not really making many positive contributions at this point. Now, with the win, Bruins second in a row. They're now 6-3-1 over their past 10. In terms of total points, they're tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for 60. That's Tampa Bay in the wild card spot, though, with Boston on the outside looking in, because the Lightning have more games in hand. They have more regulation wins as well. When you kick it down to point percentage, the Bruins are actually behind the Lightning, who rise to 6th. The Senators, the red-hot Detroit Red Wings, they've won 7 in a row. Their second 7-game win streak under new head coach Todd McLellan. The Columbus Blue Jackets have lost 2 in a row, but they are 0.01% ahead of the Bruins when it comes to point percentage. The Bruins sitting down in 11th, I believe, or 10th right now in point percentage. So at minus 23 in terms of goal differential. They're just ahead of the New York Islanders, who are 8-2 over their past 10, but they're going to be without Matt Barzal for quite some time because of an injury. The Canadiens still kicking around. The Rangers. This is a huge game tonight for the Boston Bruins. A potential 4-point swing here. If the Bruins lose, they will be 4 points up on the Rangers. That's in regulation. 4 points up with the Rangers having 2 games in hand. If the Bruins win, they could put themselves 8 points up on the Rangers and really make it difficult for them to bounce back here after a tough start. Really, there's only between the Bruins and Lightning, who are tied for 8th in terms of total points, between them and 15th place Philadelphia, there's only a 7-point gap. Time is running out here, but if anybody goes on a 3-game win streak or you go on a 3-game losing streak, it could really swing here even more. So every point is valuable. It should be a playoff type atmosphere at Madison Square Garden tonight. And the Bruins, again, looking to finish strong here before the Four Nations face-off. Game against the Rangers is one we will preview here as the podcast continues. Are you looking for tickets for your next big event? Whether it's a concert, a comedy show, or a sports game, finding the right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Gametime Picks, it's never been easier. Let me tell you how it works. With Gametime Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. I've been using Gametime Picks for a while now, and here's why I love it. The curated deals make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. And the seat view feature is a game changer. Before I even hit buy, I can see exactly what my seat will look like in the venue. So reassuring. The best part is you're covered with Gametime's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they will refund 100% of the difference, 110% of the difference, I should say. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. For the second time in just a few days, the Bruins and Rangers will square off, but this time it will take place at Madison Square Garden. The Bruins and Rangers, of course, played on Saturday. Both have played since then. The Rangers are coming off, let's see here. Let's preview tonight's game. It's one of 3 games on the schedule. I should add a very light schedule. The Canadiens will be a game to keep an eye on later on as they are in LA to take on the Kings. Now, the Rangers bounced back from their loss to Boston with a win over the Vegas Golden Knights the other night, which is pretty impressive. And they, of course, will be looking to take some points away from the Bruins here. It's a very tight race in the Eastern Conference. The Rangers still very much on the outside looking in. This is the 3rd meeting between these two teams, the final meeting between these two teams. Both have won one apiece, so it's kind of the season series deciding game as well. Artemi Panarin comes into this one hot. He's got 7 points, 2 goals, 5 assists over his past 5 games. The Bruins led by David Pastrnak, 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points over his past 5 games, and he extended his point streak to 11 games, I believe, with an assist last night on the Charlie McAvoy goal. I mentioned it should be Joonas Korpisalo in net tonight. He's 9-5-2 with an .894 save percentage. Igor Shesterkin likely to get the start for the Rangers, 17-18-2, so a losing record, but a .907 save percentage in those starts. Panarin, of course, is their leading scorer with 56 points. You got to keep an eye on, of course, JT Miller, who had a big game in his Rangers debut on Saturday. And Adam Fox, obviously a threat from the blue line for the Rangers. This team comes in 15th in scoring in the NHL, averaging almost 3 goals per game, 2.98. The Bruins, conversely, are 25th in the NHL, averaging only 2.76 goals per game. The Bruins are allowing 3.16, which is 23rd ranked in the NHL. The Rangers allowing 3.08 at 22nd ranked in the NHL. Again, the Bruins' numbers not especially strong. Power play still ranks 30th in the NHL. Their penalty kill ranks 25th. Their goals for is 25th. Goals against, 23rd. So the fact that they're still in this playoff race is kind of remarkable. It speaks to kind of the mediocrity of the Eastern Conference, but also their resolve. The Rangers, much stronger on the penalty kill. They rank 7th in the NHL. Their power play is 18th ranked, and they're the 2nd ranked face-off team as well. When we look at some of the underlying numbers for each of these teams to see kind of exactly where they stand 5-on-5, where the majority of the game is played, the Rangers are 21st in shot attempt differential. The Bruins are 22nd. When it comes to shot differential, the Rangers are, again, just ahead of the Boston Bruins. Actually, they're tied at 48.52%. PDO, this is looking at save percentage and shooting percentage, 5-on-5. Let's see where the Rangers sit in relation to the Bruins. They're both 13th and 14th at exactly 100.3. And that, again, is adding up shooting percentage, save percentage. Bruins shooting percentage is 8.66 at 5-on-5. Save percentage is 91.67. Rangers are at 8.95 and 91.33. So they're both pretty equally mediocre to begin, or not even to begin the season. We're well into it right now, and both scrambling to try to get back in an actual playoff spot. The Bruins much closer to that, and this could be a big swing game here tonight. I will be back tomorrow to recap whatever happens on tonight's episode or tonight's game, and perhaps update the Eastern Conference power rankings heading into the final game on Saturday. We will also be posting a short after the game to bring you the biggest story from whatever happens tonight. So please do subscribe on YouTube, on your favorite podcast app, so that you never miss a thing. You can also check out the Locked On Fantasy podcast next. Steal and Flip will give you all the tips you need to get the edge over the competition this week. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day. Please do take care of yourselves, friends. Take care of each other. We'll talk to you again here on the next episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.